In this video, I'm going to show you how to remove the headliner and the carpet in your 93 to 2011 Ford Ranger. For 18 years, the cabs on these trucks stayed virtually the same with only a few updates to the interior. The 93 and 94 dashboards were a little bit boxy, I guess you could say. They just looked old. They also had this really weird 2-spoke steering wheel. My dad had the same wheel on his 89 Aerostar. In 1995, Ford equipped the Ranger with a driver's side airbag, which meant a new steering wheel and a more modern dash. The interior stayed pretty much the same until 2011. The inside of my 95 looks exactly the same as my 99, except that the 99 had a passenger side airbag and a key-operated switch to turn off the airbag for smaller passengers. My 2005 Ranger had a more modern steering wheel, a slightly cooler gauge cluster, some grab handles on the A-pillars, and some bigger, cushier seats. But apart from that, the rest of the truck was still very familiar. To remove the headliner, you can simply just cut it out. But if you want to remove it all in one piece, you're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver or a power drill with a Phillips head. You'll need a flathead screwdriver or some plastic trim removal tools, and a small socket. I can't remember the size, but the socket was really small and kind of obscure. As you can see, my headliner was in pretty rough shape. I've never seen one so cut up before. There was also some water damage in the back. Start by removing the sun visors. There are 3 screws holding each one in place. Then remove the screw holding the visor clip. Gently pull the A-pillar trim down and away. This will free the front of the headliner. To free the back of the headliner, you'll need to pull the upper trim pieces away from the cab of the truck. I'm not sure what this looks like on a regular cab pickup, but in my truck there were 2 trim clips that I needed to remove. I always like to use plastic trim removal tools with the hopes of not breaking the clips, but mine were so old they just disintegrated. In the back of the truck, you'll need to remove the garment hook if you have one. To remove the grab handle, use a flathead or a trim tool to remove the plastic covers to get access to the bolts. These were the obscurely sized bolts I mentioned earlier. Once you have all the little trim pieces holding the headliner out of the way, you can gently massage it out from behind the plastic trim and then pull it out of the cab. The original plan was to reupholster the headliner, but once I got it out and I saw the fresh paint underneath, I decided to leave it bare and stick a Bucky sticker on it. Whether you decide to reinstall the headliner or not, reassembly, if you choose to do that, is just the reverse of removal. You can reinstall the garment hook, reinstall the grab handle, pop the A-pillar trim back in, and reinstall the visors. As for the carpet, if you want to reinstall it later, the best way to remove it all in one piece is to remove the seats, remove the door sill trim, and be very, very gentle. My carpet was nasty though, so I treated it with no respect. I tried to see if I could pull the carpet out without taking the seats, but it ended up not being worth it. Quick note on removing the seats. In 2010, Ford started putting side impact airbags in the seats of these trucks. So if you have a 2010 or newer Ranger, you're going to want to do a little bit more research before moving on with this step. Usually when you're dealing with airbags, you're going to want to disconnect the battery and let the vehicle discharge for about 20 minutes so that you don't have an airbag exploding in your face. If you have an older truck though, the process of removing the seats is very, very simple. There are 4 bolts for the seats themselves and 1 Torx bolt for the seat belt. On the driver's side, there's a sensor you'll need to disconnect. Once the seats are out, getting the bulk of the carpet out is easy. There will be some bits trapped under the door sill trim. Personally, I like the bare floor a lot. It's easy to clean and there's easy access to some drain plugs in the floor, so you can rinse out dirt and mud really easy like you would on a Jeep. Quick tip on reinstalling the seats, and this is a good thing to do whenever you're reassembling anything. Hand torque the bolts first so you can make adjustments easily. If you tighten one side before starting the bolts on the other side, you might not be able to get the bolts to line up right. Plus, you're more likely to strip the threads on bolts if you just zap them right away. Take your time. One thing that I was worried about with removing all the interior on the truck was the truck being loud. My truck is straight piped with a 4-liter engine, and it's really not that big of a difference. One thing you will notice though is that you'll hear every rock that hits the underside of the truck, and the trans tunnel does get a little bit warm. But apart from that, I'm really digging having no interior. Having bare metal everywhere offers some really cool accessory opportunities, like magnets. This is a clutch-it mount. It's simple and very convenient. I like to mount my phone up here to use Google Maps. You can also mount it down here by the shifter. I got this tire pressure gauge with a magnet on the back at O'Reilly's, very convenient. If you've watched my exterior videos, you'll know I'm a huge fan of ram mounts. This is a magnetic base connected to a cup holder. One for me and one for the wife. I also have a Ram universal mount that uses the seat mount as a base and a tack form phone mount. I really like these tack form mounts. I have one in all 5 of my cars, but the universal mount is kinda meh. It's a little bit hard to adjust, and every time you touch it, it moves, and so it's just okay. Anyway, hope you guys found this helpful. If you liked the video, please tell YouTube I'm doing a good job by hitting the like button. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notify bell. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.